that they may only reproduce 2-3 times in their entire life.
Reality television changed something about the way we relate to the people on our screens. These were not characters. They were people who came into your living room week after week, with their real names, their real families, their actual lives. And somewhere along the way, you started caring about them the way you care about someone you actually know.
We always had baby calves we feed. They feed out of those big old suck bottles. Get slaughter all over you. You have to wear an apron.
That is why it hits differently when one of them dies young. Not a character written off a show, but a person who was here and then was not. Today we remember them in reality TV stars who died way too young. The shocking stories.
Rattlesnake is that they may only reproduce 2-3 times in their entire life.
He was not supposed to be killable. That was the whole premise in a way. This big, enthusiastic Australian who climbed into the water with crocodiles and held venomous snakes with his bare hands and grinned through all of it, who seemed to have made a private arrangement with the natural world that it would test him endlessly, and he would never lose. The crocodile hunter ran on Animal Planet for 7 years and was watched in more than 130 countries. His catchphrase, "Crikey," entered the language. He was the most recognizable Australian on Earth. His passion for conservation was not a television performance. It was the real thing, and the cameras had simply been lucky enough to catch it. On September 4th, 2006, he was filming an underwater documentary in the Great Barrier Reef, a segment intended for his daughter Bindi's own television program. He and his cameraman Justin Lyons came across a large stingray in shallow water and decided to get a final shot of it swimming away. The animal panicked instead, propped on its front, and stabbed Irwin hundreds of times with its barbed tail in the space of a few seconds. The barb entered his chest and pierced his heart. Lyons, who had been with Irwin for 15 years, turned the camera back and saw him standing in a pool of blood. They administered CPR for over an hour in the boat while rushing toward shore. Lyons said he and the crew kept telling Irwin to think of his kids, to hang on. Irwin looked up at him calmly and said, "I'm dying." Those were his last words. He was 44. The footage was handed to authorities and ultimately given to his wife Terry, who never watched it and later had it destroyed. More than 300 million people watched his public memorial. He left behind 2 children, Bindi, who was 8, and Robert, who was 2. Both have continued his conservation work at Australia Zoo. The man who faced the world's most dangerous animals for 3 decades was taken by one of its most docile.
I turned him down. I said that I had wanted to try to make something out of my life before.
She had lived a life that the tabloids had found irresistible for a decade before she ever got a television show. The former Playboy centerfold, the small-town Texas girl who had married a billionaire 43 years her senior and spent years in court fighting for his estate after he died. She was impossible to look away from, and the culture was not particularly kind about the reasons why. The Anna Nicole Show premiered on E! In 2002 and ran for 2 seasons, following her daily life with an unfiltered frankness that was unusual for its time. Whatever the audience made of her, she was impossible to dismiss as a character. The last years of her life brought losses that reshaped everything. In September 2006, her son Daniel, 20 years old, the child she had raised largely alone, died of an accidental drug overdose in the Bahamas, just 3 days after she had given birth to her daughter, Danny Lynn. Witnesses said she never recovered from Daniel's death. She was still grieving when, in February 2007, she was found unresponsive in a hotel room in Hollywood, Florida. She was 39. The cause of death was ruled accidental, combined drug intoxication from a combination of prescription medications. There was a legal battle over Danny Lynn's paternity that was settled in court, with photographer Larry Burkhead confirmed as the father. Danny Lynn grew up away from the spotlight, which is what Anna Nicole herself had often said she wanted for her children. She had once told interviewers that she thought she would die young, that she would be like Marilyn Monroe, whom she had been compared to throughout her adult life. That comparison had always felt cruel in its implications. In the end, it turned out to be accurate in the ways that mattered least.
About the weather right now, if something doesn't happen here pretty quick, we're going to be screwed again. The ice is going to come down and...
Deadliest Catch is a show about real danger. That is the premise. Commercial crab fishing in the Bering Sea is one of the most hazardous occupations in America, and the Discovery Channel spent 6 seasons documenting what it actually looks like. Captain Phil Harris of the Cornelia Marie was one of the faces the show built itself around. A gruff, plain-spoken fisherman who had been working the water since he was a boy, who captained his boat with his sons Josh and Jake on the crew, and whose relationship with them gave the series much of its emotional weight. He was not polished for television. He was simply himself, which is often the best thing a reality subject can be. By the time Deadliest Catch's 6th season was in production, Harris had been dealing with health problems for several years. He smoked heavily. He had a history of blood clots. In January 2010, while his crew was unloading a haul of Apilio crab at dock in St. Paul Island, Alaska, he suffered a massive stroke. His son Josh called 911 immediately. His face went into paralysis on one side. He was airlifted to a hospital in Anchorage, where he was placed in an induced coma to reduce the swelling in his brain. He woke from the coma and showed signs of improvement. For 9 days, it seemed possible that he might come through it. Then he suffered another intracranial hemorrhage. He died on February 9, 2010, at the age of 53. The Discovery Channel aired his final days as part of the season and followed it with a tribute episode. His sons Josh and Jake took over the Cornelia Marie. The show did not soften what had happened or look away from it, which is exactly what Harris would have expected from a program built on not looking away from what the sea actually is.
Because my brother has a channel that's not incredibly popular, and so Brian figured, hey, if I message her brother, maybe he'll end up seeing the message.
She had built a following on YouTube before anyone at a television network knew her name. Teenage Christina Grimmie, singing covers of pop songs in her bedroom in New Jersey, had accumulated millions of subscribers through sheer vocal talent and an on-camera warmth that made viewers feel she was talking directly to them. By the time she auditioned for The Voice in 2014 and was placed on Adam Levine's team, she already had more online followers than most of the show's previous contestants combined. She finished 3rd in season 6. Levine later described her as a natural, a gifted talent that comes along so rarely. On the evening of June 10, 2016, Christina Grimmie performed a concert at the Plaza Lab in Orlando, Florida, with the band Before You Exit. After the show ended, she moved to the venue's meet and greet area, something she did regularly, something she valued, the part of the night where she could thank the people who had come out to see her. A 27-year-old man who had driven more than 100 miles from St. Petersburg, specifically to be there that night, approached her and opened fire. Her brother Marcus, who was working as her road manager, tackled the shooter immediately. The shooter later died at the scene. Christina Grimmie was rushed to Orlando Regional Medical Center. She died a few hours later. She was 22 years old. Adam Levine paid for her funeral. Her brother Marcus, in a tribute posted online, wrote, "She was more than my sister. She was a partner in life, a superstar, a goofball, introverted, and a friend to everyone, genuinely, but above all, she was my baby sister." Less than 48 hours later, 49 people were killed at Pulse nightclub, a few miles from where Christina had performed. The city of Orlando was in grief twice in the same week. The foundation established in her name has since donated over $350,000 to families affected by gun violence. If you watched American Idol's first season in the summer of 2002, you remember her. The pink-haired rock singer from Grand Prairie, Texas, who stood on that stage opposite Kelly Clarkson and Justin Guarini and sang Janis Joplin and Alanis Morissette and Stevie Nicks with a rawness that Simon Cowell did not always know how to process. She finished 3rd. She was 23 years old, and in the way that the first season of Idol was unlike anything television had produced before, an unscripted, live-or-die talent competition that the country watched together, week by week, calling in to vote. She was part of a genuinely shared cultural moment. After Idol, the road was not smooth. She had wanted to record rock music. The label wanted country. The compromise produced nothing releasable. A rock album of her own, Unleashed, came out in 2007. She appeared on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew in 2008, seeking treatment for cocaine and alcohol addiction. She was open about the difficulty of what followed the show's spotlight. The sudden absence of the structure, the audience, the sense of direction. She worked through it. A year before her death, she had described herself as sober and at peace with where her life had taken her. On October 28, 2020, Nikki McKibbin suffered a brain aneurysm. She was placed on life support. Her husband, Craig Sadler, announced on Facebook that she had one final gift to give. She would remain on support until her organs could be donated. Even at the end, she is still giving, he wrote. She died on November 1st. She was 42. Justin Guarini, who had stood beside her on that stage 18 years earlier, posted a tribute recalling her as fiery, funny, and capable of cutting you with her twangy southern wit, with the same ease she brought to a rock song. He also remembered the day that Stevie Nicks, Nikki's hero, sent her flowers with a handwritten card. "You are the gypsy that I was," the note said. Nikki had walked on air for days.
When the show first came out, I had a deal at the time with Maverick Records, and the music industry has just gone through so many problems in the last 6-7 years. You know?
He was the Australian who came to Atlanta to chase a music career and ended up on American Idol Season 7 in 2008, where Simon Cowell, not a man known for easy praise, told him after his very first audition that he could be the next big thing. Johns had a voice that belonged in a different era, warm, powerful, rooted in classic rock in a way that felt genuine rather than nostalgic. He placed 8th in the competition, a result that surprised almost everyone who had watched him perform. He released an album, toured, and kept building. He was 35 years old on August 1st, 2014 when he died. The coroner's report listed the cause as dilated cardiomyopathy, an enlarged heart, alongside a fatty liver. He had been at home in California. There had been no public indication that anything was seriously wrong. The first American Idol finalist to die, he left behind a wife he had married in 2007. His producer, David Foster, who had featured Johns on a PBS special, expressed shock at the loss. Former Idol host Ryan Seacrest called it devastating. Among his fellow contestants, there was the particular grief that comes when someone dies at an age that does not yet seem possible, when the number feels wrong, when the sentence has not finished. Michael Johns had said in an interview during the Idol tour that being a celebrity did not suck, and that he intended to enjoy it for as long as it lasted. He did not know how little time there was. He had been planning a new single, scheduling appearances, living the career that the show had given him a platform to build. He was 35, and on a Thursday morning, he simply did not wake up.
Start this battle, I don't see a lot of optimism. They gave me 50-50 chance.
Dog the Bounty Hunter was appointment television for a specific kind of American viewer, the kind who respected someone who worked for a living and did not pretend otherwise. Dwayne, Dog Chapman, and his wife Beth had built a bail bond business in Hawaii, and the A&E series that followed them from 2004 to 2012 made them genuinely famous by simply pointing cameras at what they were already doing. Beth Chapman was not a sidekick or a decoration. She was a full partner in every sense. She handled the business side with formidable competence. She went on the fugitive captures with Dog, and she spoke her mind in a way that made her the emotional anchor of the show. In 2017, she was diagnosed with stage 2 throat cancer. She underwent surgery and chemotherapy and declared herself in remission. The following year, the cancer returned, this time in her lungs. She continued to work through treatment, appearing on their follow-up series Dog and Beth, On the Hunt, and later on, Dog's Bounty and Law and Order. She did not disappear from the cameras. She brought them with her into the illness the same way she had brought them into everything else. Beth Chapman died on June 26, 2019 in Honolulu. She was 51. Dog was at her side. In his statement, he described her as his partner in everything, as the person who had made him better at every aspect of his life. Thousands of fans gathered outside the couple's home and at the beach where her memorial was held, which was both unexpected and entirely fitting. The audience for the show had never just been watching, they had been paying attention in the way you pay attention to people you care about, and their grief was real.
So I had to produce that emotion about a half hour later, which I produced in the office off camera, and I just had to breathe. And it was a bad day for me,
By the time A&E put Corey Haim and Corey Feldman in a house together for the two Coreys in 2007, both men were famous for being famous in the 1980s. Haim had been a legitimate teen movie star, licensed to drive, Lost Boys, Dream a Little Dream, a face on 1 million bedroom posters, someone who had arrived young and bright and been consumed by an industry that had no particular plan for what happened next. The show documented their friendship and the specific complicated dynamic of two men who had been through versions of the same experience and processed it very differently. Haim had spoken openly over the years about his struggles, the addiction that had followed his early fame, the difficulty of building an adult life after a childhood spent in front of cameras, the years when the phone had stopped ringing and the money had run out. The Two Coreys was a second chance at visibility, and also an honest account of two men trying to figure out where they stood. It was watched by people who had grown up with both of them and wanted to know if they had made it through. Corey Haim died on March 10th, 2010 at his mother's apartment in Burbank. He was 38 years old. The cause of death was pneumonia, worsened by an enlarged heart. He had been sick for a few days and had declined to go to the hospital. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office also noted the presence of prescription medications, though the official ruling was that pneumonia caused his death. Feldman was devastated. He has spoken of Haim many times since in interviews and in his own memoir, always returning to the same central fact, that Corey Haim had been a genuinely talented person who had been failed early and repeatedly by the industry that had first celebrated him. Reality television made a promise that scripted television never could, that these were real people, living real lives, and what you were watching was what was actually happening. The people in this video kept that promise. Steve Irwin was exactly who the camera said he was. Phil Harris was exactly that captain. Christina Grimmie sang exactly like that every night. The grief that came when they were gone was not the grief of losing a character. It was the grief of losing someone you felt you knew. Which of these stories hit you hardest? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to keep returning to the people who shaped the television you remember, subscribing is the way to stay for what comes next.